Welcome to Groundwater, episode 4. Thanks for tuning in. This is your host, Jonathan Brown, on tour. Tour life is going swimmingly. I played a test pattern in Winston-Salem. It was a super dope small space, but they pack a lot of love in that tiny room. I had a poetry show in Charleston with Los the host, and it's always a pleasure to see him. Savannah at the Wormhole went super well. It's probably the best sound in the country I've ever seen for a mid-sized venue. Their sound guy, Jeff, is incredible, and their equipment is way above what I've seen other places. I don't know, it's just, quick shout out to the Wormhole. If you ever want amazing sound while you're on tour, go play Savannah, and hit up the Wormhole. It was super fun to see Beth and Chantel there as well. Thank you guys for being amazing. Today I want to share with you a conversation I had with Dope Knife out of Savannah, Georgia. And Dope Knife released an EP on Fake 4 recently, and it's really awesome. It's I don't know, this dude is doing some other stuff, and I think you're going to appreciate the conversation we have. We get specific about some of his lines, and about his philosophy, and about his process, and also check out his very brand new album, which dropped, I think, 2 days ago on Sage Francis's new imprint, SFdigi, from Strange Famous Records. Dope Knife is on tour right now, and you can go to his Bandcamp and see his tremendous catalog, because he's released so many albums in the past 10 years. He is a hard working artist, and he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. I think someone said it takes 10 years to become an overnight success, and Dope Knife is well on his way. So y'all check him out. Yeah, this is Jonathan Brown. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. All right, so welcome to Groundwater. Again, this is Jonathan Brown with Mr. Dope Knife.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, Dope Knife. How are you today?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. I'm on the road.
I know.
Feeling good about it. Got a little show at St. Aug
I
tonight.
feel your pain, brother. Wait, so you're going from this to do a show?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I played Charleston last night, and then I stopped here to talk to you, and then and then I'm going to St. Aug.
Yeah.
And I've been just absorbing your music for quite some time now, and I took notes and stuff. I'm really excited about asking you some specific questions about it, but maybe we could just start with I have this a broad question that I've been meaning to ask you for the past 6 months. How did you get the indie rap game in a headlock? And and so, because your EP just came out on Fake 4.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Thank you.
And now you have a new thing that's about to be released on Strange Famous's new imprint, right?
Yeah, SFdigi, Strange Famous Digi. Yeah.
Right? I don't know. How do you take that? Are you willing to divulge your secrets?
I mean, yeah, it's not even really any sort of secret thing. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's kind of whack when people try to pretend that it's oh man, I'm just so much better than you that I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Because at the end of the day, it takes a lot of things falling your way. I've been out here doing the same thing that everybody else, who's dope and is really about their business and about doing their thing. I'm doing the same thing everybody else is doing. I just been doing it long enough that eventually a couple things, fell my way. I was able to perform in front of the right person or know the right person who knew the right person that got me this gig here. You know what I mean? And
right.
And when you get those opportunities, you just it's kind of up to you to like, take advantage of it. But I mean, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people who get dope opportunities to really make an impression on people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whether it be fans or whether it be so-called industry people or whatever, and it's just like they're not really, they're there for reasons other than what their music is.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
You'd be surprised, man. There's a lot of whack dudes opening up for your favorite rappers. You know what I mean? Because they have a car. You know what I mean? And I mean that's totally cool, man. I mean you do what you can do to do it, but at the end of the day, it's just like it just takes, at least for me, it's just been consistently working at it, and just like the law of averages, you know what I mean? Just
because looking at the Bandcamp, like you've released a lot of music.
Yeah,
you've been grinding for quite some time.
I've been putting out music independently since like 2002.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
I mean, for real, from the moment I started rapping, which was like my senior year in high school, I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And everything else, kind of just became like something that I was doing while I was pursuing this.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And through all that time, there's definitely been peaks and valleys. There's been like highs where you're like opening up for somebody who you've admired and you're like, oh man, I'm on top of the world.
Right.
And then, you're in your hometown doing a show and there's 3 people in the audience and you're like, shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I've experienced, all that sort of like stuff. And I mean, I'm still here, still going. It's just a matter of like, what are you doing it for? For me, it's fun.
Right.
For me, or like doing a rap show is fun.
Right.
Like recording is fun.
Right.
So
your why is big enough to like conquer the 3. See, people think they fail.
Yeah.
When there's no one in the crowd, or you have a bad night, or nobody feels it, or you put out an album and nobody gives a shit. And there's this concept of like, oh, ooh, ow, that hurt, maybe I should quit. But if you're having fun, like if the point is fun, and you're having fun, and you keep having fun,
then who's going to tell you that you're losing? I mean...
You can't lose if you're having fun.
Like, look, for me, I can only speak in my terms, but I imagine it's kind of the same for a lot of people who are in our position where it's like, I have a job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I go to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like pay my bills and I do all of my other stuff and then I rap. You know what I'm saying? And whatever comes out of that is gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like I can't like just like rely or like think I'm gonna just like hit the lottery and it's gonna be this and that. So I just make my music on my own terms and I don't do it to eat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Right. It's not like a hustle for me. You know what I mean? It's like it literally is just like a creative sort of like outlet.
So there's no failure, especially if you don't put the pressure of
it's a matter of like what your perception of success is. You know what I mean? I have several personal, benchmarks of what I think success is, and I haven't reached those yet. But
what are those for you? What are those benchmarks?
That's kind of personal.
No. I respect that.
No, I mean the main one, I guess, is just like on some like warrior Highlander type shit. Like I'm about like some props. You know what I mean? Like yo, I want the more that people, when they have their personal discussions about like rappers that are dope, the more people that are like, oh, have you heard of this dude Dope Knife? Yo, he's dope. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you should check him out. He's dope. Like, I feed off that shit. That makes me, you know what I mean? I know that at the end of the day, I just want to like, no bullshit, like go down as like, oh man, that dude was one of the dopest rappers to ever do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the midst of that, if I can make a living rapping while pursuing that goal, that's dope.
Yeah.
if I like become like the biggest pop star in the world and I'm on a jet because I'm doing that, hey, that's dope too. But
Right.
that's like a 0.0000001% chance of that happening. So why would I pursue that instead of just pursuing, like a modest, like, hey, I just want to make a living doing some shit that I love.
Yeah.
And the people that achieve that, I mean, I'm sure that they wake up every day like realizing like how fortunate they are to be in that position. And
Yeah.
the people that are maybe pursuing that and know that that's what they have in mind, they're not really ever disappointed because stuff's not like a life and death sort of like, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, I gotta make it. Oh, this gotta work out with this one, or I'm, you know what I mean? Or I'm calling it quits.
Or I'm getting a real job.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay. I mean,
maybe you should get a real job.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Maybe you should get a real job and just do this for fun.
Yeah.
Because that's not how anything works out. I mean, it's just not,
Yeah.
Like there's people who if they had that sort of attitude, they wouldn't be CEOs.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I love that.
If that's what you're looking for, you know what I'm saying?
So can I ask you about some specific songs? Like,
Oh yeah.
So you on Weekend at Brody's,
Yeah.
which just came out, the first track, Rome is Burning,
Mm-hmm.
you do this thing that I can't place. Like, I can't put my finger on where you got that from. And I think it's hella original, and not that I'm, like, asking you to rap the verse or anything, but what you do is you, like, stretch out the syllable.
Yeah.
Right? At the end of the line.
Yeah.
And I was curious if you could talk about that, about where it came from, or...
I mean, Rome is Burning was a song that I originally had this album that I did called Blackmail.
Okay.
And I put that out like in 2012. But the songs were written in 2011.
Okay.
And it was like a real raw, like visceral sort of like album that was like in the midst of like a breakup, and
Okay.
I was just writing and recording real fast, and so I put it out and then I took it down later on just because it was so rough that it always sounded like a demo. But I'm just giving you that as like references to that's when I wrote that song. That's when I wrote it for. So that wasn't like something that I wrote new. But I think when I wrote Rome is Burning, it was maybe the fourth or fifth song that I had started writing for that project. And I try to write my stuff in the order that like, the songs end up being. I like work on the songs in that order. And when I got to that song, I just realized that my flow was kind of like I was doing what I do, you know what I mean? But it just like thinking about it in the scope of how it all flowed together, I was like, man, it sounds kind of like monotonous. So what if I break it up? And as a matter of fact, damn, I haven't really ever talked about it, but it's like talking about it like made me kind of realize that it's like I think that song was probably one of the first songs that I kind of started realizing like, man, I don't have to like kill it on some super lyrical jam-packed rhyme thing every fucking line of the song in order for it to make an impact and be dope, you know what I mean? So it was like, I used to rap fast back in my youth, you know what I mean? So for me it was like the notion of like doing a verse to where I would literally be like, it's still like, stay strong, it's all that you know. They want you to see your brother and call him a foe, so move on. You know what I mean? Like doing that was just like, had for so long in my rapping life had been like a no-no. Like, man, I'm not going to write a verse like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm rapping, I'm spitting bars, you know what I mean? And that was probably one of the first songs where I kind of just started getting out of that mindset. Okay. So much. Because, I mean, I think from a content perspective, my shit has always been kind of like, left of center to where it's not the typical rap fare. Right. But stylistically, you know what I mean? I did have like a very rigid sense of like what I thought was dope.
Right. And that's kind of like expanding out from.
Yeah, from that. But I mean, at the same time, I'm definitely more of a hip hop head right now than I used to be. You know what I'm saying? Like before, when I was younger, I used to be super, almost forced eclectic. You know what I mean? Like, man, I listen to everything. You know what I mean?
You heard that new radio?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, man. I mean, I love like jazz, classic. You know, and it's just like I still love all that stuff. It's still awesome, but I feel a certain pride about rap right now.
Yeah.
That it's like, man, rap doesn't have to be anything other than rap to change lives and be, amazing and cutting edge and like stuff. Like, it just seems like people only ever give hip hop that sort of credit or that sort of recognition when it's something other than beats and rhymes. You know what I mean? It's like nobody listens to like rock and it's like, man, this needs more rapping in it and it would be awesome. Like, you know what I mean? But people are quick to like, man, I don't listen to that sort of rap because it doesn't have any singing in it. It's rap, you know what I mean? Right. Like, they're gonna listen to sing? I don't know. Maybe I'm just... Anyway, that's just sort of the mindset I'm in. So it's like, when people are rapping and when people are doing interesting things with words rhythmically on beats, that's just what I'm into at this point in my life. And that's kind of what I try to expand on with my music at this point.
So in your song, Sympathy for Mr. Wrong, there's a couple of bars, and it's something like, the line gets blurred where Kendrick Mack begins and Dope Knife occurs. And I'm fascinated by the concept. Could you talk about like the utility of having a rap name? Because there's a reason you don't use your real name, you use Dope Knife. And is there a line between you and your rap personality?
Yeah, I mean, I think most non-corny rappers would say that, you know what I mean? There's you're obviously not your rap self, no matter what your rap self is. At least, I don't know.
Let me ask this, how do they differ? Like, if your rap self met your real self in a bar, would they get along? What would they talk about, like...
Yeah, they would get along. I mean, the way I've always looked at it is, when I was in high school, I really used to be into pro wrestling, right? Like,
okay.
So, like, I was, like, all about, like, The Rock and Stone Cold and Mankind and the quest for the belt and that whole thing. And I remember in high school reading, I think it was, like, The Rock's book or something. He was talking about how he found his like character, for it, and he was like, what it ended up being is like the best guys were always their actual selves, but with the volume turned way, way, way up. Oh, you know what I mean? Snap. Okay. So when I first started rapping, I just used to go by Mac.
Yeah.
That was just it, because I had a cool last name, and I just used to rap as Mac, and it was just stupid party joke, you know what I mean? Dick fart joke type shit. And then I had a friend who always used to call me Mac the Knife.
Okay.
And he was always into anime, so I just always thought it was like, this is like, we're talking like 2003 or 4 or something, right?
Yeah.
And he always used to call me Mac the Knife, and I was like, man, like, is that some anime character, Mac the Knife or something? And he ended up passing away, so I took that name, Mac the Knife, the Knife, and I just used to go by that. And then over some like copyright stuff, I had to take the out of it, and I was just Knife. And I was Knife for like 6 years. Okay. And it made people, the whole dope sandwich thing, and I always said dope in my songs, that it was like Dope Knife just kind of seemed like, the next evolution in that. But even before that, when I was just going by Knife, there was a certain point in time to where all the stuff that I was doing when I was just going by Mac and just rapping, just kind of, just for the sake of rapping, you know what I mean? Just like, I'm the best rapper, blah, 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 that sort of stuff. That was like a lot of my younger stuff, as it is for like a lot of cats.
Okay.
And there was just a certain point to where I was like, man, Knife is going to be like this character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To where it's like I can still be myself. I can still be Kedrick. And you hear Knife, or you hear you hear what I'm doing as Dope Knife, and no matter what I'm doing or what I'm saying as Dope Knife, there's still a sense of truth. You know what I'm saying? That is consistent with who I am. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I say in a rap song as Dope Knife, oh, I rip a rapper's head off or something like that, just the way that I say it or whatever context I say it in, there's never ever a reason for anyone to like, oh man, he doesn't really rip people's heads off. You know what I mean? It's
right.
like my music's not even coming from that like that point of view to where it's like, I don't know, that's stupid. Shut up. like that's the only thing I can say to that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I don't know. There's just a certain. I don't know. I feel that my music is consistent with my character as a person in the same way that a Quentin Tarantino movie is consistent with his. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're not like wondering, is Quentin Tarantino some like terrible person? You know, it's like he's a guy who makes movies. You know what I mean? And the movie exists in its context of being a movie, and you judge it like that. You know what I mean? If you're not into that sort of shit, then hey, it's not for you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of how I look at it.
And just real quick, I don't know if you want to talk about that, but you kind of glossed right over that moment where you said you had to take the out.
Yeah.
Because of copyright issue. Do you want to talk about that? Or?
Yeah, no, this is fine. There's
because I didn't know anything about that.
There's a Swedish electronica band. Called The Knife. Oh. And they've got like Grammys and shit.
Oh.
And like I didn't know this back in like 2007. Okay. So like I had like a MySpace page.
Sure.
And it had like tens of thousands of followers, and I was just like, oh man, I'm the fucking man, you know what I mean? And then it was filled with people who were like looking for The Knife, but ended up finding me, and it's like most of them were like, I was looking for The Knife, but this is awesome, you know what I mean? So one day I just woke up, you know, Brothers MySpace page was gone.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was like, no!
So
had to start from scratch, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna be Knife.
Dude, that's gorgeous. Okay, so maybe we should Google our respective rap names to figure out if they're already taken.
Make sure that
so we don't have to go through
to aspiring rappers. Make sure that your rap name is not already claimed by Grammy Award-winning electronic artists.
Oh my god!
And you'll be alright.
You rap a lot about comic books. Could you talk about your relationship with comic books, or is it that kind of a similar vein to wrestling?
I mean,
that it's creating.
Would you say I rap a lot about comic books?
I would say it's in there.
I'd say
it's
comic book references are peppered in stuff.
Yeah.
And they're peppered in a way that if you get it, then you're like, oh, this dude's dropping mad comic book lines. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if you don't get it, I don't know. It doesn't make you like. Wait, you know, Danny's here. Danny is my manager, and she's here. But I want to ask her a question. Danny, you don't know anything about comic books, but do my comic book references distract you? Like, do you feel like when you hear me say something that you don't get, does it like take you out of the song?
It definitely doesn't take anything away from the song, but knowing what you're rapping about, and that when it is a comic book reference, totally adds to how dope it is, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Well, yeah. No, I mean
that's settled then.
But no. I read a lot. I used to read a lot of comic books.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time to read them these days, but I mean, it's my favorite medium of entertainment. Like, I would rather read a dope comic book than watch a dope movie or listen to a dope album or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, a dope comic book equals a fun time to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So yeah.
That's what's up. I kind of want to ask. sort of a serious question. You have this song called Choke, which is like, it goes so extra hard. It's like, it almost makes you question like what is okay and what is not okay. You're like, is this okay? And for those of us who don't know, it's a song about sex, and I guess I could say rough sex.
It's BDSM, yeah.
BDSM.
Yeah.
And I just want to quote a couple lines, and so...
You're gonna quote Choke?
Well, you got this couplet, right? You got this bar that's, it's not a game. I don't want to behave. I want to fuck you like a stranger and call you a slave. Which is like so fucked up. That's so wrong on a lot of levels. But I want to address. Let me lean into it a little more and say that redeem is probably the wrong word, but you close the song with a line that said, "What other dude appreciates
what you do with a razor?"
What you do with a razor, and so what that does is it. The previous couplet I mentioned is like, it's rapey.
And then
it's
you
rapey.
find out that it's a mutual experience.
Right.
Yeah.
And a song ends with the power in the woman's hand.
We meant to do a video for that song.
Okay.
And it was going to be like the whole entire thing was, it wasn't going to be like I'm here rapping this, I'm here rapping that. It was just going to be like a sort of movie sequence playing out while the song was playing behind it.
Okay.
And it was going to be just like the entire thing, you know what I mean, is the guy getting, you know what I'm saying, being the sub in the relationship. And you just like witnessing that, like they wake up in the morning, they're walking the dog, they're doing this, you know what I mean? They're just like being a couple, and then it's like, by the middle of the video, you're hearing all this raunchy shit, and then by the middle of the video, you're seeing that's like their thing. Is like at night, he's like getting on all fours with the ball and gagging his mouth and shit. But no, that song was like literally written as a sequel. I have a song on the Blackmail album that I was just talking about earlier that is about. I wrote it in reaction to like my ex-girlfriend.
Sure.
But, it's really like this character, you know what I mean? The character's writing his ex-girlfriend a note, and it's like, see you walking by, blah, 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 blah. So it's like, in Iconoclast, that song, it was a reaction to two things. One, I wanted to do a sequel to the Walking By song of this character writing the letter to his girlfriend to where it's been years, and he sees her in the bar, and then he's talking to her, and they're remembering all this, like, I don't know, if you hear Walking By, and then you hear Choke, and I just tell you that the songs are kind of related, and then you listen to them,
it'll make sense.
It's not even that it makes sense. It's really fucked up. It makes you question everything about Walking By. You know what I mean? Because Walking By is a really sweet, heartfelt song, and then it's like if you think of Choke as like, oh, that was their relationship that he missed so, you know what I mean? It's just like, ooh. But it is very much a story. And then also I saw that 50 Shades of Grey movie, and I just thought, wow, that's just like really, really tame. And I don't know, it just inspired me to write a song.
You were like, I could
yeah, exactly. That. I could definitely and still kind of get their point. You know what I mean? Of like, real emotion and relationship being within the confines of that world, and you know what I mean, and like seeing, it's like I thought that was, I don't know. I give them credit for inspiring Choke. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if your question is where did Choke come from, it's just fiction. You know what I mean? Like it's just I'll probably get more into that once I get out of this phase of being so personal with my music. But, like, I do very much enjoy fiction rap writing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess some people would call it, like, nerdcore. Okay. But, not necessarily even doing, like, nerdcore sort of shit. Not necessarily doing, like, something that's, like, part of, like, nerd culture or something. But just, like, a rap song of just, like, a plot for a movie. Like, to me, that's like a dope, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like more people should do that, I think.
Well, your storytelling It's off the charts.
Thank you.
I mean, a lot of rappers are like lyrical, and you're like, damn.
Yeah.
But you tell like stories.
Thank you.
Which leads me to a question: how do you strike the balance between how something is said and what is said? Because I'm saying the how as like the style, the syllable, the rhyme, and the what as the content. Are those just married for you, or do they?
You know, first of all, let me say that is a real dope question.
Okay.
First of all, you got to get some props for that. All right. But nah, I mean, it's definitely one of those ones where it's kind of like a brain twister, because it's like it's something that I do just kind of like on instinct that I never really stopped to like really consider that process. But I'd say at the end of the day, what I'm saying and how something rhymes, I can't really put a percentage on it, because there are definitely some moments to where it's like I'll have something that I want to say.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to rhyme it is consumes the majority of my time. When I'm writing, and I still do traditional pen and paper, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's like, if I sit down and if I tell you that I'm going to be writing for like 2 hours, I shit you not, an hour and 30 minutes is spent with the pen in my hand in the blank page open and me just like staring into nothing. You know what I mean? Like, straight up. That's how I write. And then like the last 30 minutes is me writing all the stuff that I was just thinking of. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But there are moments where that consumes me. But then there's definitely moments to where it's like I have a rhyme and I'm like, oh man, that's going to be dope.
Right.
What meaning can I put behind that?
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? When those moments happen, that's usually where I'll have something written down that I don't touch for a while, and I end up using it when it can apply to something. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like usually when I'm writing about a topic, it's like a lot of the time it's like, all right, how do I rhyme this? How do I rhyme this? You know what I mean? And
so if I could, let me dig in a little deeper. So the content in general, not all the time, but the content in general, you're like, all right, what do I want to say? And then it sort of forms on a content level, and then you go back and figure out, okay, how do I make this shit balance?
I mean, exactly, because it's like, for example, I mean, if we were going to just like do like a quick example, let's say we're talking about, let's say we're talking about like global warming or some shit, right? Okay. So I would be like, literally, I'd be like listening to the beat. It's like global warming. All right. Global warming. And I'd sit down and I'd think about just thoughts and like ideas that I have on that topic. You know what I mean? Then after I like organize my thoughts, and I'd kind of think of like just poignant statements. If we're trying to make something a bit more harder, then I try to think of like provocative statements. You know what I mean? Like, you're a fucking idiot if you deny climate change. You know what I mean? Fuck Exxon. You know what I'm saying? I'd like think of those statements. Then I'd go back and I'd like think of those provocative statements. Like, all right, how to make this funny? How to make this sting? How to make this? You know what I mean? All right, now what are the rhymes gonna be? And it's like I'm doing this all just in the process of like vibing to the beat. You know what I mean? So I'm not really like, again, analyzing the process. You know what I mean? But content, for the most part, dictates where the song goes and where the rhyme goes. Also, because I'm thinking of like the content, it's just like I try not to regurgitate things. So I try not to say shit the way that I've heard it said before. You know what I mean? Because it's like, and when you're thinking of stuff like content first, it's like you just maybe are more cognizant to that, to where it's like, if let's say that I was the sort of rapper that rapped about the typical stuff that a lot of guys rap about. So if I were gonna like write a rhyme about like a diamond necklace, I wouldn't take the same approach that I've heard a million dudes take to rapping about the same shit. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like I'm paying attention to the content. So if I run across like where I'm like my content is like edging against stuff that I've heard, that's when, to me, it's actually the funnest, because it's like, it's the most creative, because it's like, all right, how do I make this like drastically different? You know what I mean? Or how do I say this in a way to where I'm expressing an idea that you've heard before? Like you've heard rappers say, I'll do this to another rapper. Like you've heard rappers say like bravado, braggadocious shit. The reason that it sounds monotonous because everybody keeps saying the same shit. You know what I mean? So it's like I just try to think of a different way to say my stuff. You know what I mean? And I don't know, a lot of the stuff that I do like to listen to, it does the same thing. To where it's like we're all human beings.
Yeah.
We all go through, we all have more in common than we have, apart. So at the end of the day, if you apply that logic to rap, we all, at the end of the day, kind of experience the same range of emotions and stuff like that.
Sure.
The things that stick out to people and the things that people remember are the MCs or the hip-hop experiences that are unique and are their own voice. You know what I mean? And it's like that's what I try to like bring to it. It's like, how everything's been seen, everything's been said, everything's been thought, but how do I say this uniquely like I would say it? Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the approach that I take to my stuff. So it's like if I'm gonna make like a dance song, which I haven't tried to do yet, but if I ever were to try to make a dance song, it's like, how would a Dope Knife dance song be?
Right.
You know what I mean? If
that sounds a lot like you're talking about. I feel like a lot of artists are trying to find their voice. Mm-hmm. Right. So it sounds like you. Have you found yours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you notice sort of a before and after of when you found it?
2000, the Blackmail.
For real?
2012. I found my voice.
So it was like sitting down and cranking out the super emotional.
Check out this video, and oh my god, I can't believe I'm even telling anybody to go watch this shit. But there's a video online called "Irresponsible Rap Song."
Okay.
It's somewhere out there on YouTube. You can find it. But literally, that video was written in the midst of like, I started out rapping on my own.
Yeah.
Went to college.
Yeah.
Did some rap things. Then came to Savannah. Made my name around the party, freestyling circuit, and then we started Dope Sandwich, and we started doing our Dope Sandwich thing. We're opening up for this, we're opening up for that, we're touring here, we're doing shows out of town, we're doing all these shows, we're just young and stupid and popular in our own bubble town, and we've got money in our pocket and blah, blah, and we did that whole thing, and then I settled down, and put all of like my focus that I was putting into music and stuff into like a relationship, and then like that crumbled, and it's like all of my music, I'm not saying it was mindless because I was doing some stuff and I was saying some things, you know what I mean, when I was younger, but still, like in the midst of that breakup and like, I really wasn't feeling working on music, and I left Savannah. I was living with like my best friend in Jacksonville and like just crashing on his couch and being depressed and shit. Wow. And then it was like after about like 6 months of doing that, it was like, yo, let me get back online, check out what's going on, you know what I mean? And like, just to give you a sense, it was like this is the beginning of stuff kind of being like it is now. You know what I mean? So
that
like
was the turning point.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It was like that was really like when I started getting back on my horse after like that phase, it really was like I did that video with just like, you know what I mean, some camcorder around my friend's apartment, and we did this video for a song that I'd had. Yeah. It was a song that I'd done like years before, but we just made a video for it. And I just remembered like when I was cutting that video together and just like listening to it and watching the images, and I was just like, that was like my Bruce Wayne, you know what I mean, bat coming into the, you know what I mean, cave, where it's like, that's what Dope Knife is supposed to be, this like media pop culture wise ass like villain, you know what I mean? And it's like in using that character to like make those points and get those commentaries across in a way that I can't necessarily do just as myself. But then, when I make a song that's like personal and is actually about me 100%,
Yeah.
it kind of puts what I say when I'm just in full dope knife mode into a more like context of like, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it,
Okay. That's fascinating in the way that I've heard a lot of artists say that some version of the narrative of I was rolling, things were cool, and then I woke up one day and I was like, hit rock bottom, didn't know myself and didn't know how to create anymore. Mm-hmm. And then 6 months later, I came out of the funk with sort of a new, and that's a story that I'm sure you've heard and I've heard and I've done and you've done. Do you feel that's necessary? Like 2 years from now, for you to open another door, are you going to have to hit rock bottom in a year and a half? Or
I don't necessarily think it has to be rock bottom.
Okay.
But
it's got to at least change.
It's got to change. Exactly. It has to change your status quo. You know what I mean? And I think that anything that just like rocks your world and changes your worldview, it's unfortunate that a lot of times those things end up being bad things. You know what I mean? And not necessarily like life-altering tragedies, but like you said, hitting rock bottom, like getting, a relationship ending. Probably the most common one, I'm sure. You know what I mean? Getting fired from a job that you had that maybe you like. You know what I'm saying? Falling out with your parent. It could be anything, but it's just like real life experiences kind of have a way of making you prioritize the things that are important. You know what I mean? And the things that aren't. And when art is something that you do, there's nothing like a real life experience to really make you assess whether or not that art is something you want to do. And when I think when people come to that conclusion and that realization, I just think that there's a good like long period of just like, Neo in the Matrix seeing all the numbers like, all right, I know what I'm doing now. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know how I'm supposed to be approaching this. Even if, they're still growing as an artist, it doesn't like we're all supposed to keep growing. So no, I don't think I'm like at my peak or anything like that. I just mean, I think I've found my voice. I know what my direction is. I used to have, when I was younger, I used to spend a lot of time thinking about what to rap about.
Okay.
That does not happen anymore. You know what I mean? And when it does happen, I don't even try. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of my main thing about like doing features and stuff like that. It's like, if I'm going to do features with somebody, it's like gotta be for a reason. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's hard for me to like just rap about nothing. You know what I mean? Is it, like if you had caught me 5 years ago, I could rap about nothing for you all day, but I can't do it. You know what I mean? I can't make myself do it at this point. So it's like, I never have those moments and I never have that doubt because like, I don't try to do it unless I feel it. Okay. Performing, I feel like doing that all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like actually writing material and writing rhymes, it's like, I like it to be for a reason. You know what I mean?
In your song Big Brother, you got an REM reference.
Oh yeah, that's me in the corner.
That's me in the corner. Please don't lose your religion.
Yeah.
And I was curious about asking you about what is the most emo shit you were into? Like REM, that's me in a corner. I feel like on my emo scale is probably like 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10.
What is like the most emo-ish shit that Dope Knife does?
The Dope Knife does?
Is it like paint your toenails and eat cookie
dough?
No. Is it binge on Sex in the City? Is it Elliott Smith?
I was on some like super like nobody understands me shit when I was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I was totally like that, man. They just don't get me, man. I don't fit in. I'm not meant for this. Yeah. I mean, music
No one understands me.
The most emo shit that I was into, I would say, God, it was probably like some Smashing Pumpkins shit.
Smashing Pumpkins?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Smashing Pumpkins count as emo?
That
No?
actually leads me to my next question. I'm going to quote you on this, and I don't know, Smashing Pumpkins maybe subconsciously sneaked into this.
All right.
These rats chase cheese. Shout out to fake accomplishments.
Yeah.
Rappers should do like NASCAR
And wear their corporate sponsorships.
And the rat thing is
The rat chase cheese, yes. I actually have an even doper Rat in a Cage Smashing Pumpkins reference in another song. But yeah, no,
So
that it's in there. It's in there. Definitely, yeah.
Can
I
we
love
talk
that
about
one.
that for a second though? In the way this sort of like this one-upness, this sort of like how to make a career in rap.
Yeah.
It's like, well, get your local paper to vote you the best rapper. Then open up for Sage Francis. Then open up for Milo. Then open up for Blueprint. Now get a feature with a rapper who's well known. Like there's this sort of like leapfrog game that seems to happen. And I'm not. This is not. That sounds cynical when I say.
No, I hear what you're saying.
That sounds cynical. I've done some of those things, and I would like to think they were in earnest sincerity when I was doing them.
Yeah.
But we can look back, and we can say, maybe some of that was for validation.
Yeah, and
So can you speak to that a little, as like a dude who's probably has done some of those things with sincerity, but in this line you're also critiquing them.
it's like... I mean, as far as that goes, like you said, try to be sincere in you're doing it, but
Yeah.
that's kind of like the thing, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's just
Right.
like if you want to like do a song with like someone that you have no connection with,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Then it's just like, where's that song coming from? You know, like, what is the reason for that song's existence?
Well, I mean, if we specifically answer the question, I would imagine your hope is that this person's fans will now hear me.
No, I know that, and
You
I
can
understand
have
that.
You can
but
have your I Love McConan moment.
no, and I totally get that. But that's what I'm saying is like,
Right.
I know me as a fan, like, when I, like, for example, when I heard, like, I guess the first, like, collaborations with, like, Killer Mike and LP.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was like, yo, this is so weird that it's like, this is dope. You know what I mean? Like, why is this happening? That's awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was just like, there was an organic thing to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It didn't come out the gate, hey, guys, all of a sudden, Killer Mike and LP, we're going to do an album together and blah, blah, blah. It was like, LP produced an album that he was on. So that felt obviously natural because LP's a producer. And you're like, well, okay, word. Then you heard, they're coming out an album. It's like, oh, shit. That makes all the sense in the world. You know what I mean? It felt organic. There was a reason for... It felt like there was a reason for them to be making music. Even if, like, you've, I guess, opened up for, like, a rapper and you guys have met, you know what I mean? And something like that. And it's like, you know, you put some work in to, like, do a track with them. But it's just like, I don't know, like...
Do you have
The game is... Navigating the game... or navigating all that stuff is definitely something that it'll drive you crazy if that's kind of all you focus on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It's not like I wouldn't say there's any sort of like guarantees in any of it that anything that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
You just have to put yourself in the position that you're thinking about other people being in. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And if you have faith in your stuff, that it's like, oh man, all I need to do is just do a song with this person, and once their fans hear
and then
me,
I'll explode.
yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, hey, I mean,
Yeah.
I try to be a realist and know that that's an unlikely scenario as opposed to being, you know what I mean, the case.
Yeah.
So.
You got a song and it says, I think I'm gonna misquote you here because I can't read my handwriting. I would still love my son if he's gay, but I'd kick him out the house if he wax rap.
If he raps whack.
Yeah.
You just said if he wax rap.
If you,
I kick him out the house if he wax rap.
I do that a lot. I switch up words.
Yeah.
I know this is 2017, and we've sort of, as a culture, decided collectively and for the better that homophobia is no longer cool anymore. But for some reason, sometimes in hip-hop, it's like your drunk uncle at Thanksgiving. It just fucking shows up, and it's like, and it's there.
You know...
And I like how you address it.
I mean, that song, or that line was coming from a battle perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that... I don't know. I think that there's a difference in like, I guess, the cultural homophobia that's in hip hop,
Okay.
and then there's like that battle shit. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think the battle shit is in bad taste, but I think that it's not coming
from a bad place.
I don't even want to say a bad place, because it is coming from a place of negativity, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's more, there's a context to it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, I used to battle. I used to do the freestyle battle stuff. So like I stopped battling when it kind of became all about,
when there were no beats involved and you write written.
No. Yeah, I stopped when it became about, you know, I became when it became about like, you know, I'm gonna like study this dude's Facebook page and write like 18 songs worth of material about him. You know what I mean? And then we're gonna like repeat what we wrote for 3 months. Like I'm not.
I don't understand that.
But so like I come from like a freestyle, you know, era, and it was just like, it was all about, like I always used to say, like, okay, if I were battling somebody that I knew was gay,
Yeah.
I wouldn't make any gay jokes about them, because that plays into their hand, you know what I mean? From a strategic standpoint, just like if you're gonna battle, right?
Yeah.
And you come across a rapper that's short, you know what I'm saying? Why would you make a short joke about a dude who's short and knows he's short and has been living with people saying he's short his whole life? So from a strategic standpoint, that's like something that he's been thinking of how to counter you for a long time.
Sure.
And then at the same time, it's like any real rapper who's getting into the shit, like, I don't know, you make something that society like points out to you as being your a weakness or something, a strength, you know what I'm saying? And I think in battling, that's where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, you claim that you're so macho, well, you're not macho, you're pussy. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you can hear that in a couple ways, and you can hear, okay, I just heard that line, and that's in bad taste. I don't like that. Or you can hear it and be like, oh, I hear that. I get the context that they're saying it in, haha, that was funny. Or you can hear it and be like, oh my God, that guy hates women. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's like, all right, you pick what you want. Pick which one you want, you know what I mean? But it's like, you know, I think that's kind of, that's what that boils down to. Then, like I said, you have like the cultural shit where it's like, you know, a rapper, we recently, one of the festivals here or something, they had a rapper come in town. They like booked some fucking, one of those On the Rise Atlanta cats, and he wouldn't perform in a club down here because it's like normally a gay club. But they were using it as a venue for like the festival. It's just like, that's like, you know what I mean? That's like cultural like homophobia that's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
whoever, I don't know who that is, I don't know.
Oh,
his name,
I
but
I
I'm
don't
just
know his
gonna
name
jump out
either,
on
but
one
yeah,
and
he's
say, fuck
yeah,
that
fuck
dude.
that dude. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fuck that dude.
Fuck that dude.
Um,
But I mean, hey, you know, like
yeah.
I've been in situations in battling like where I'm battling like a girl. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's like the first thing that she says is, "What's up, ladies? Hey!" And all the girls like, you know what I mean, are like, "Yeah!" And I'm like, "Oh shit." If I don't go extra caveman, I lose. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I'm thinking about because we're playing a game and she
Right.
gets it and we get it and we're hugging at the end of it. It's a game, yeah.
like
you know what I'm saying?
professional wrestling.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
it's pro wrestling at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like now, you know, with that same sort of mentality, like the line has obviously blurred to where it's like guys don't know whether they're playing a fucking character or trying to be real, you know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, and it goes all across, you know what I mean? From dudes with money to dudes who don't got money, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, are you rapping or are you doing something else? Because I'm rapping, you know what I'm saying? So,
Because I came to rap.
yeah, I don't know
doing.
what the fuck you guys are into, but I came to rap, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
if you don't like my shit and you say, hey, fuck dope nice shit, he's whack, then like my mindset is, yo, fuck you, your shit's whack. My shit's dope. My shit's dope because XYZ and your shit's whack because XYZ. It's not, hey, fuck dope nice shit, he's whack. What nigga? We gotta get to the beach. We're going to the streets. I'm killing it. Like it's like like that, that's I'm not here for that shit. So
I feel you.
I don't have time for these dudes, man.
I love it. I love it. I love the line in the sand that says, "No, this is rap."
Yeah, I
and,
mean,
and within this, step in this arena, and we can do unsafe things safely.
exactly. But I mean, that's what at the end of the day, that's what hip hop was literally created for, to be an outlet. You know what I mean? It's like gaming. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like you're supposed to use hip hop to explore like anything.
Yeah.
And why people don't do that, even in my most like capitalistic mind state of trying to understand like the mainstream, I don't understand why it's so monotonous. Because they would make so much more money and they would churn out so many more stars if they took risks on stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I guess you have the benefit and the luxury and the beauty of taking every risk you want to take.
Yeah, I mean that's why the best music, I mean, it's not even really a cliche at this point, but the best music right now is not the most quote unquote popular shit. It's all the DIY stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like cuz people are really genuinely making music cuz they're trying to make music that they enjoy.
I just got a couple more. In your song, I think it's called Entertained.
Most Entertained, yep.
Yeah, so there's this sort of the theme of like the numbness of entertainment is kind of rotting our brains. And I wanted to ask, in the context of being a rapper, do you see a difference between making entertainment and making art?
Yes.
What's the difference?
Art is stimulating on a level that is beyond just what's obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Entertainment is what's obvious. You know, like porn is entertaining. You know what I mean? It wants you to look at, you know what I mean? It wants you to look at one thing. It's there for you to look at it, be entertained for it. A Michael Bay movie is entertaining. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what it's about. This guy's doing this, who's doing this chase is happening. Boom! You know what I mean? And it's like, there's nothing wrong with entertainment. Okay. But when entertainment is forced upon you, and when a lack of when a lack of wonder and you know what I mean, like insight, and when intellectualism is like stigmatized and downplayed.
Okay.
You do that to a population for, I don't know, like 15 years or so, and the next thing you know, Donald Trump might be fucking president. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, it's funny you mentioning that song, because it's like, it really is like a weird song for me to listen to, because, like, I wrote that shit, like, about the movie Idiocracy.
Oh, wow.
That's like what that song is about. It's just not funny and it's not whimsical, but it's about the plot of Idiocracy. You know what I mean? I even say, like, where's the electrolytes in a certain part of it, you know what I mean? And it's just like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff about that that's coincidental.
Yeah.
About that just that whole concept that's like coincidental to what's going on in the world now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot about it that's like actually really like scary to think of. You know what I mean? That it's like we live in a society that is so, at the end of the day, disconnected and uncaring.
Yeah.
And just like slaves to whatever the powers that be want, because we're just concerned with things that aren't important.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That all it takes is somebody famous.
So, like a simple distinction could be entertainment sort of gives into that, and art subverts that.
Yeah, but I don't think all entertainment is like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think like again, I don't think entertainment for entertainment's sake is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, but if whoever is in charge of like the gatekeeping, is saying, just keep them entertained.
Woo! You might have issues.
You know what I'm saying? Then yeah. I mean, that's what fucking dictators in third world countries do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, shit. There's that's just as an effective method to keep a population, you know what I mean, aloof in you know,
fat, dumb, and happy.
Exactly. You know, just keep everybody just comfortable enough that they don't fight back.
Yeah.
And I think that we've got a lot of that going on. I mean, dude, yeah, I have no doubt in my mind right now. I mean, whoever gets insulted by it, but I have no doubt in my mind that Paris Hilton could have been elected president.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Well, she's got a chance in 4 years.
This is what I'm saying is like it's at that point. You know what I'm saying? That it's just like, it's like a cult of personality, and it's like it doesn't even matter who the puppet masters or who the controllers are. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, not to be too specific, but every fucking thing that people were worried about with Hillary, you know what I mean? Donald Trump is like, isn't even president yet, and it already looks like he's set to do that times 1,000. You know what I mean? So, and I was not on any sort of Hillary Clinton bandwagon at all. You know what I mean? So it's just like,
that's mad scary.
The way, I mean, the way that it happened is a celebrity ran for president and won, and it's just like, it's just crazy. You know, it's just because he's an old white guy that you can kind of look at it and rationalize it as being a real thing. But it's no different than if it was Paris Hilton or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Kanye. You know what I mean? It's just like this person has no business. Like,
it hasn't sunk in yet. I'm still numb from that.
I watch a little bit too much news.
I just got two more.
Okay.
This is a question I like to ask. What is your most tangible fear?
My most tangible fear. I have a fear of people worrying about me.
Wow.
Like people that I care about worrying about me. So sometimes it kind of, in an unhealthy way, kind of manifests itself as like me keeping a lot of things in because I don't want people around me to be worried.
Yeah.
But I'd say that's probably my biggest fear, is that people worry about me.
Cool.
Like, I don't know. That's it.
What and let me ask this then. What does it look like when you're experiencing the opposite of fear? What does that look like for you as a person or as an artist?
I think it's probably... me on stage, to be honest with you. That's like...
yeah.
It's probably the only time where it's like... I don't know. It's like I'm not really overtly spiritual or anything like that, but it there definitely is something out of body to performing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To really, really getting into a performance.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's like a inner space that my mind goes into that's just like devoid of worry and is just into the performance and into the song and into the character and the crowd and everything like that. So that's why I love performing, man. Like that is I'm super happy that I'm at a point to where I'm still relatively young. Yeah. And I have like a body of work, so I have tons of songs that I can do.
Get out there and do it.
Yeah, man, I love performing. If I can figure out a way to just like consistently get on the road, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I definitely feel that.
You know.
All right, before we go, is there anything you would like us to know?
Oh, yes.
What's coming up?
So I've got the album 1984 dropping on Strange Famous. Go check that out at strangefamousrecords.com.
All right.
I've got a video dropping next week. Make sure you check that out. That's going to be on the Strange Famous YouTube channel. The album drops January 27th. That is January 27th, 1984.
Wow.
Coming to you. Yeah, man. Just keep checking for me. Come to a show. I'm going on tour next month.
Okay, where are you going? You know,
shit.
Some cities? Where are you headed?
I'm hitting up the East Coast and then coming down the Midwest and going back home. But it's 21 dates. We're going to be in D.C., Virginia, Connecticut, Buffalo, Kentucky, in Minneapolis.
Wow. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Jacksonville, Gainesville.
Getting it.
Daytona. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Holler at us.
This was up. Yo, well, thank you for allowing me to interview and come through Savannah.
Thank you, man.
On my roll.
Thank you. I'm glad that Wormhole treated you good.
All right. Well, let us know what you think in the comments. And like it and share it and do all those kind social media things if you enjoy what you heard. And I know you're thinking like, well, should I really share it? I don't know. I got a big day. I got stuff to do. And the answer is yes. Hit that share button with all the kindness in your heart. This week, I'm playing Athens tonight and Columbia and Greensboro and Asheville, and then I have a radio show in Clemson, South Carolina, which I'm super excited about. I have no idea what it's going to be like. I think it's sort of a KEXP Audio Tree Live type flavor with the college radio station up there, and then I play ATL, Atlanta, Georgia, twice. Once on the Super Bowl while Atlanta's in the Super Bowl, because I make great decisions as far as booking goes. But I'm really excited about rocking Java Monkey and their Poetry Slam that night. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. We're going to close out with Dope Knife's Jams. I'm going to tack a song at the back of this interview that we referenced. I think it was one of my first questions about stretching out words and how they fit within the measures. I'm gonna find that one and post it on the back of this. Again, this is Jonathan Brown. Let us know what you think. And if you want to know more about me, you can go to my website at jonathanbrownmusic.com. You can also go to Amazon and find my brand new motherfucking book called Fight Dirty. I love you guys. Have fun. Take care.
I'm sick of living in a world where it's kill or be killed. It's all wrong, and even though we learn our lesson, we never second guess it. We chase the worldly possessions till they're gone and dead in the ground. Cause everybody dreams of seeing they head in a crown. We put prestige in minor things, on steps and on bounds. Get them profound and get a frown when it's letting us down. But stay strong, cause it's all that you know. They want you to see your brother and call him a foe. So when it's on, it's divide and conquer. But you gotta be prepared to survive the encore. Move along, they got skills like a hypnotist. Don't get it twist, you'll get killed if you get them pissed. You're fucking A if you think it's seeming ubiquitous. I've been around the world, nobody's supposed to live like this. Fuck the throne and the sire, the whole empire to the fire. Make the flames higher with me, just breathe, breathe, breathe. Cause my room keeps burning away. Don't snooze, more jail, more rules. Don't try not to lose. Duck and move and just breathe, breathe, breathe. Cause my room keeps burning away. Yeah, and while you looking for a payoff, it took you on a weekend at Bernie's and then they made off. Got us going right at each other like it's a playoff. I'm trying to make sense about this chaos. I think they found a way off, and they don't wanna take us. They rape us to break us, and we won't hear shit until they take off. I think of these issues while my girl is shopping. Her iPhone broke, that's a first world problem. I tell her not to trust the taste makers of her music. They use shit like Real Housewives to keep her stupid. These low frequency fucks are confusing the truth with this glass ceiling. We all can just see where the roof is. They gave you pain relaxers, made you pay your taxes. Know you're gonna break right on the day the thing collapses. And saying it's okay is just the way we play with matches. Grab your gun, bring your rations, get ready to bathe in ashes. Then fuck the throne and the sire, the whole empire to the fire. Make the flames higher with me, just breathe, breathe, breathe. Cause my room keeps burning away. Don't snooze, more jail, more rules. Don't try not to lose. Duck and move and just breathe, breathe, breathe. Cause my room keeps burning away.